The death of my brother, I was shocked about that, but then you start to think about life. There is more. This will maybe be hard to hear, but it's kind of a blessing, because my true life started after that. I think this is very important, to face your fears, to face the challenge in your life, because this is the only way to really grow. The night is the darkest just before the light, and you have to push through this, because if you don't push through it, you just go back,
What does it actually take to build a relationship that lasts while building a business alongside it? How do you stay grounded when work, ambition, and partnership start to blur? In this episode, I'm joined by Marko Kozjek. Marko shares his transition from corporate science to entrepreneurship, the realities of building a business alongside his long-term partner, and how therapy and communication became non-negotiables. We also explore how the loss of his brother reshaped his perspective on life, relationships, and what truly matters. If you enjoyed this one, support the mission. Please kindly subscribe and leave a review. It helps the show grow, and that means that we can reach more men who are ready to take that next step. Thank you so much. I'm Harrison, and this is the Growth Voyage podcast. Enjoy. Okay, we're live. Marko, welcome to the show.
Yeah, nice to meet you again after Bali.
Yeah, it's good to sit down again, brother. I was really keen to get into this because I know our conversations have touched upon many different areas of the human experience, the man's experience. I'm particularly intrigued to hear about your journey recently, particular with your relationship experiences, right? The way you've connected with people. What have they been teaching you about yourself?
Oh, yeah. Recently, I've been on quite a journey, changing my career from corporate scientist in pharmacy to my own brand of healthy energy drinks, and I would say entrepreneurship way. And on this journey, I went with my long-term girlfriend, which we are a couple for 15 years. So last 2 years, we were building our own brand and company, and it was a roller coaster of emotions. What can I say? When I come to Bali, I've seen the journey in totally different eyes. It was eye-opening to meet the same thinking people, because back here in Europe, everybody's judging you by how much money you make, in which corporate position you have, and also in the relationship when you have to make some hard decisions financially, about business, about how the future will be going on. You meet your limits, and what's your advantage and what are your not so good sides. And you have to reinvent your relationship a little, make some areas which you will perform and in which your girlfriend will perform, especially if you're together in business. It can be quite challenging. And also if the business is not sometimes going in the right direction, you can start judging yourself and your relationship by how good the business is going, which is not very healthy to do. But, it's so hard if you have a common goal towards what you want to achieve. It can be very challenging not to judge yourself and your success by financial success of your brand or business. And yeah, currently working hard on separating this private and business life, and try to separate, I would say, the task in our relationship and business, so we don't communicate all the time about business. It can affect your romantic relationship pretty much. So our latest strategy was to change the hats when we leave the office. Like wearing a red hat when we are in the business, and there we are in a relations of being co-workers, and outside of the room of the office we are back in romantic relationship, and talks about the business are forbidden. to,
That's an
yeah,
interesting approach, because what I found is, even though a lot of the time we're sitting down to tackle our business stuff or our work stuff, sometimes the solutions to those problems only come once our subconscious has had enough time to work through them. So naturally, I found when I am in a conversation with my girlfriends, then they'll get an idea or a
yes.
business idea. So I imagine that's cropped up quite a few times for yourself as well. Talk to me about that journey. Then how did you end up doing something together? Was it both of your ideas? Had you always wanted to do something together? Talk to me about that, because that's a big, like you said, that's a big, huge commitment. And obviously you've been together for a long time, so you've got really solid foundations, it seems. But talk to me about how that
Yeah.
all came about.
Yeah, our journey started long time ago in high school. So I can say we are high school sweethearts, which sounds very romantic, and it really is. It's I would say it's a blessing to find someone so early and that you are aligned along the journey so well, because so many couples we met break apart after a few years, maybe 5, after 10 years, because they just their interests split, and they don't. I don't know, they don't feel aligned anymore. I don't know, some of the partner is cowering through identity. And of course, you evolve into the different person now in your 20s, in your 30s. So, yeah, we managed to sail in the same direction, to have all the time the same uh, values and wishes for the future, and that our passion for business and entrepreneurship came at the same time, and the personal growth similar came in a similar way. Maybe my girlfriend was a little bit earlier in that, but when she presented me with some ideas, with some new aspects of how to look at life, I was like, yeah, sure. Then there can be a new way to look at something, and I'm always open to try new things. So read a few books, meet with different people, listen to her, what she can present me with. And I was like, okay, yeah, this can be a better life than what I was living till now. And also some heavy things happened along the way. The death of my brother. I was I was shocked about that, but then you start to think about life. There is more. That there is not just just job, just going to the job for 40 years, and it changed us both. And we started to think more about ourselves, not just to live by the system. And at the time, we just went together on a business journey from college degree to corporate scientists. We were both scientists. So yeah, we figured out that we know a lot about science and that we want to help people before they are sick. Like in pharmacy, we help people when they're like terminally sick, like have cancer, autoimmune disease. So we wanted to help before they get to that point and live their best life before that. So yeah, we developed our energy drink formula and try to present it to as much people as we can. But yeah, the easiest part for us was to develop it, because this is our core knowledge, and the marketing part, the competition in the market. Yeah, that is something new for us.
Mm.
And yeah, we had quite a journey about that.
Yeah, what a journey you've been on, and I love that mission. By the way, I love that mission because, as you've suggested, a lot of the time we can focus on, they're not even solutions, but ways to reduce symptoms of diseases later on in life. I just love this idea of, well, hang on, can we actually stop it at the roots? Like, can we
Yeah.
actually support a greater lifestyle, greater health, greater vitality, well-being beforehand? So I love that aspect. I want to rewind though, because there's a lot going on there. You mentioned the death of your brother. I can't fathom that. That must have been like horrible time. And it also sounds like in some ways it kind of woke you up a bit. It kind of gave you a sense of, oh, okay, life isn't forever. What can we make of this? Why don't we try our own thing? Is that accurate to say? Do you think it kind of just inspired you to, in a way, to go, you know what, life's short. Let's just have a go at this thing.
Yes, this was a tough challenge for me. because it was like a sudden accident on a skiing trip in the mountains. So it was like happened and it was over, in a matter of minutes and hours. So it is a shocking experience. And yeah, in the first, you just focus on what you have. I was in a college doing a master degree. I just worked my sorrow away. That's the most common thing to do. And I think it's not so bad at the beginning to put emotions a little bit to the side. I think it's like a mechanism of the brains to do this more calm for you and for your body. But if you don't work on it, it comes around and it comes twice as heavy. And then you get your revelations, the shocking truth about yourself, and it works like a catalyst. And at first you're like, "Oh, this happened to me. I'm so sad now. I can't do anything. This is not right. This only happens to me." But after a few years and after some therapy and talking to other people, you actually realize that this will maybe be hard to hear, but it's kind of a blessing, because like true life started after that. And if you make the most of this experience, which is not good, you can live a better life, more conscious. I don't know. I think this spiritual side of life opens to you, and you start looking at the life not so much like materialistic, but also about experience. What can you achieve more? Not just play not to lose, but play to win. Because when you experience a sudden death and you are so close to it, also you just wanted uh, to live your life fully. You never know when it can end, and to live something below average, it's just not worth it. I think to live below your fears, you still get fears after that, because something like this moves you and you get out of your comfort zone, and there comes new fears which were like stuck in the inner layers of yourself. But when you release your first fears, other follows. And I think this journey opens so many fears for me, so many new fears, but you just have to work on them, and you can come out as a winner, I think, and live the best life. And maybe sometimes I just want to live more, because my brother had so short span of time on earth. So I want to live like, a, a double life, a double energy.
Mm, yeah, making it count. Like you've
Yeah.
got this, you've got this opportunity now. Yeah, I could see how that awakens you. It's, oh, okay, he didn't have this opportunity. Well, I better fucking take mine, essentially. Yeah, I really see that. And it's a great point about fear as well. I think bravery and courage, it's not about getting rid of fear. It's by seeing the fear and going towards it anyway, because everything we want is on the other side of that fear.
Yeah.
And I'm intrigued to hear about that journey for you. Like you said, I think a lot of the time we can use that hurt to put it into something great and start building for ourselves, but it always catches up with us later. And I think a lot of the time we might not remember how much things impacted us, or might not have given ourselves permission all the time to feel it. So I can imagine at some point we kind of get a bit of a wake up call. Oh, okay, there's this thing I didn't deal with previously. Did that come on quite suddenly for you? I know you mentioned you went to therapy. Was there resistance to going to therapy, seeking support, or did you find that you had quite a good network of friends and people around you who supported you with this process?
Yes, it was. At first, it was hard to decide for it. Actually, my girlfriend put me up for it, because I said, "Okay, I will go, but you just sign me up, and I will visit." But yeah, before that, it took me 2 years to come to that point. And also in these 2 years, I had many friends from before, and it was like a filter, this event, and it showed who was really my friend, who was my closest friends. And I think I lost about 80% of people around me after that event in terms of 1 year. And it was at first really lonely, but then all the people who stayed, kind of a double up, and I was less alone then with less people around me. Yeah, this was hard to accept, but it was a new reality and I had to work with that, which was great. And then, yeah, the therapy helped a lot. Resolved my um, anger issues about how I couldn't help at the accident as much as I could. I helped as much as I can, but the destiny comes in between and you can't do much sometimes. I had a lot of guilt on myself not to be able to do more. I just wanted, to save my brother, and you can't do much. So we have a lot of guilt and anger. Um, yeah, this is the two most common emotions about that. And yeah, it helped a lot. And after 2-3 months of this, my life was, I think, changed. I've overcome that. I put a lot of fears behind me at that point. Lived a better life after that, definitely.
And it ties in with your point before about it being a blessing in a way, right? Because without that experience, you might not pursue therapy, you might not have discovered more about yourself and seen the truth behind it all. And I think before we go through that wake up call, we might be living again that first part of our life where you're friends with a lot of people, you're still kind of finding yourself. And as you've alluded to, this experience showed who your real friends were. So it acts like a filtering process. And
Yeah,
then you think you have all these friends, and then suddenly you get to a point you realize, oh, hang on, 80% of these guys aren't even my friends. They don't really care about what I'm doing, my life, or how I'm doing. So yeah, I really resonate with that. And it sounds like your girlfriend played an important role there too, kind of showing you that path and showing how good therapy and looking inwards can be. I think a lot of the time, especially as men, we can have a lot of resistance to going to therapy or going deeper within ourselves. And I think a lot of the time we don't even acknowledge that there could be something there worth exploring. I know that was in my journey. I didn't actually think I had anything to work through, which sounds crazy, but in a way, I thought, oh no, I had a great childhood, didn't experience any trauma. The reality is, we all experience something to varying degrees, right? And when they're not explored, then those programs will end up running our life. So she's obviously played an important role there. I want to touch upon the relationship too, because that's a long time being together. Like you said, you've grown together, which is another blessing because a lot of couples, yeah, naturally they'll drift apart and the relationship served its purpose at the time, especially being so young, because I think it's women who tend to mature quicker in an earlier phase of a relationship. So talk to me about that process. I presume you were both into growth, kept on growing. How did the trajectory of the relationship change in that regard? Was it a case of you both just growing at the same rate? Did you both have the same visions and goals all the time? Because that's a long time to be
yeah,
together.
yeah. It's really really a long journey, also interesting journey. Yeah, we started when we were 16 years old. It started in high school. Then we choose the same university. We both pursued science. So we agreed on that term, that we want to pursue science, a good career, a stable career in research or maybe corporate later on. So yeah, you have the same goal. And we had like a good families, a similar childhood, like fairly supportive environment, especially her. And we both wanted to have a healthy family in the future. The relationship, a romantic relationship, was pretty much the biggest focus of our journey. That we together are strong and that we feel good. Never like discredit each other, to distrust each other, because we started so early. We were, in the phase of meeting other people, being in different parties, traveling separately with friends, going, around, not always together, but we give each other this freedom. which is the most important thing, I would say. Also, we still went on vacations with our own families, with our primary family, and we were not together for a month uh, in summer, which we figured out is a really great way to like assess how much you like your relationship. Because in this month, we both knew that we miss each other a lot. And this is great. But even if you figure out that you don't miss each other that much, this is also a finding, and it can show you that maybe you have to work on your relationship a little bit more, or you are not really the best match for together. This is how I tell other people to maybe test the relationship. Just go on a vacation separately and see what will happen for you, what will be your emotions. And for us, it was like a little reset where we figure out that we want to be together even more, which is a great sign. And if you feel that, this is a great sign. And you have to pursue this relationship even further, And this was our early starts. We were always very mindful about that. And then we finished the university, find our first regular jobs, which was great. It was a Corona time. We renovated our own apartment, where we were very cohesive about how we want to look, how the decoration will be, how the interior design will be, and you see that you have the same again, same wishes, same values, same taste for the interior design, and you connect, and I renovated it myself, basically all the electricity, the tiles, the flooring, everything, so I could show myself in a more manhood, like the male power that I can do with my hands, stuff in my hands, and she liked that a lot. And this was our first showing of a little bit of man energy and the female energy, and this was also following up with maybe some challenges, because this at that time we started to live together for the first time for every day. Before that we lived separately with our families, but we were mostly together with each other, but in your child room, like that, not independent. And yeah, we live together very good, but still, you are together for all the time, and there needs to be like a little bit of separation of what men do and what a female do. And yeah, this was, I think, the most challenging part, to align ourselves of how the man and the woman energy works together. Um, and also at that time we started to think about the business, and uh, you know um, everybody would say that the man is the one who needs to be the boss at everything, but naturally my girlfriend was always more of a CEO, I would say, because she has these fast decisions, and I'm more of a idea guy, who knows the theory, who studies everything, a little bit more of a nerd, I would say. But when I present her ideas, she feels which one is the best to pursue to materialize it, which is maybe not really woman and man energy, I would say, all the time. And some would say that decision should be on the man's side all the time, but sometimes you just have to do what you're good at, don't do what the everybody told you around you, but do what you're great at. And yeah, it was quite a journey. It was, yeah, along the way we had some bumps, but I think you need to actively work on them. I would say you have to resolve them quickly, not to drive them across days and weeks and hold a grudge. I think the best is, yeah, you need to tell each other what's on your mind. You have to communicate this fast, not to brew it inside you, because this can get out of hand really fast. But you have to say it. You have to just plan it and say it out, even if it hurts a little bit. But if you're meant to be together, and you will communicate this out. And I think it's worth to take maybe I don't know, 4 or 5 hours and just talk it through until each other understands what you want to say. And I think this is the most important thing, to listen to each other and to see what you can do for your romantic partner, how to adjust, how to adapt, and maybe the love language can be sometimes different. Sometimes woman needs, I don't know, attention. Sometimes they need like physical gifts. Sometimes they need I don't know, other types of communications. But if you are other type of communication, especially men are a lot of times physical, in a physical love language, which is like touch, sex, emotions, physical connection. But women, I think not so much. They are more like time spent, words, what words you say to them, like, conversations. I think this is more their case, or maybe sometimes gifts. But for men, I think every man likes, physical contact, and we are naturally drawn to this type of love language. So you need to learn to communicate which language your spouse or partner is communicating actually. So I think this is very important to learn that through communication and some disputes. When you have some disputes, you learn the most. And yeah, I think this is the most important. I think the communication, I would say.
Mm. Yeah, it's not a surprise every time people say communication. And that way you can see, I suppose, what's actually happening in the situation. Because I think a lot of the time we might be guessing, or we're maybe looking at the projection of what's going on, but that's not the reality. There's something deeper there. It goes with all types of relationships, I suppose, in terms of just the way we relate to humans. I think if you're able to see the truth of what's going on, then that will help the situation. But I imagine, because there's a lot of good info there, I imagine that's taken quite a long time to figure out. How many years in would you say it got to a point where you really knew your partner and things started clicking? Because I imagine for the first period, however long that first period is of getting to know each other, you're constantly learning and you're still figuring out deeper parts of the other person. So how long has that process taken for you to really learn these lessons, integrate them, and get to a point where you have a good flow to things?
Yes, I would say a relationship like this goes in phases, definitely. And I would say that the phases are like separated in 3, 5, and 7 years, I would say. These are like the years that some challenges would arise. First year, you're really soft and in love, and you're actually too young if you start so early to feel anything more than just being in love, having great time. But after 3 years, you see where you have like your beliefs from your family, what bothers you, what doesn't bother you, how adaptive you are. And if you work through that, you're pretty much okay. Then there is a fifth year, I would say. I don't remember really particularly what our challenge was, but I would say definitely we had maybe uh, more conversations in that year, maybe more disputes about how we want to live, how each other behaves in life, what are your bad sides, your strong sides. And I don't know, after 7 years, if you come through that, I think you know each other pretty much well. You can't play it so, you can't act a play, a role so long, After 5 years, you show your hands. I think this is for sure. Because I know so many couples who broke around 5 year mark point because they just show their real hands, and things escalate in a year and it's over. Because if you lift an act for 5 years, at that time the energy is depleted, and I think the true phase comes out. And yeah, after that, after 7 years, I would say you can start building a really strong foundation. But I would say if you start a relationship a little bit later, I don't know, 25 or even maybe 30, things can go pretty much faster because you know who you are, you know what you want, and I think there is a different dynamic at that point because you know what you want. But yeah, if anyone listens to this, if you start early, yeah, you just have to talk. The jealousy is the killer of the relationship, I would say, especially in so young relationships. You have to trust each other. You have to give each other a space to party, to live their own life. Our practice actually was that when we are with friends, we are not like all time constantly together, but actually with our friends. So yeah, we keep good friendship around us, a good base, not just our romantic relationship. And I think this is very healthy because you always have somebody to lean on outside your relationship. Because sometimes in relationships comes like maybe a hard patch, and you have to trust your friends. Maybe lean on them for some help, for some conversation to clear your head, because maybe you are too zoomed in. But with your friends, they will say, "Look, you have a great person, and look, you will solve it." If you're too zoomed in on a problem in a relationship, this can ruin it. It's the same with everything, I would say.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think reaching out to people who you can trust as well is super important. And what I mean by that is, I think you got to be careful about who your friends are, right? Who your network are. So, yeah, I would even after our conversation today, right? I could happily go to you and ask for your advice, right? Because you've lived through it. But also, I imagine you'd be the type of guy who will challenge me as well and hold me accountable. So if I'm there, and let's say I'm just projecting a lot of the time, and I go over to somebody and I say, "Oh yeah, girlfriend's done this and she's done this," and if he then just validates what I'm saying just to make me feel good, then that's not really helping me at all. That's just that's making the situation worse in a way. So what you really need is someone not to validate your experience, but to listen and then reflect back to you what you're saying. And I think sometimes challenge it a bit as well. I think that's what you really need in terms of a good friend. Perhaps it's been a similar for you in the sense that you surround yourself with people who will actually give you good advice, or who won't just double down on what you're saying, but just offering that safe space to listen, perhaps.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. It's great to have the people who will challenge you, because usually what you come to a friend and say, "Oh, this is shit, this is bad, girlfriend said this and that." I think the best friend, or the best someone who can help you, is to show you a mirror, to see what are your bad sides and what's something that bothers you internally. Because usually that something bothers you, it, it's your projection from inside of you. So I think you really have to look carefully inside you to see if there is something that can wake up these discussions with your girlfriend, that something is picking you inside, that you expose some problems, and it's really important that your friends say, "Look, you play it like this. Of course, your girlfriend reacted like this," and it's really important to come to the bottom of it. Why someone reacted that way? I don't know. Maybe look into your childhood, maybe your family, how your parents communicated, or to see your patterns of previous communications. That I think this is really important to see, um, to acknowledge everything in your past, so you can communicate better in the present moment with your partner. And you have to listen to different sides, to your partner, to your friend, especially if he challenges you. You just have to remove a little bit of your ego here, because if you play that way, and you wanna just win, the relationship is not about winning. It's about, I would say, diplomacy, winning for both sides. The best outcome possible. Because if you play it that you want to win, um, the other one will lose, and you gain nothing. It's a two-side play here. Everybody needs to win, and you have to listen to I don't know, say friend opinion, and yeah, you need to be open for conversation. Definitely.
Yeah, certainly open-minded. It's a great point too about actually it's not about you or the other person. If you put the focus on the relationship itself, then you can think more clearly and you can actually assess whether your actions are aligned with the relationship where you want it to go. And I imagine throughout this journey as well, I imagine for you there was a bit of self-doubt or doubt about the relationship at times. It sounds, talking with men, that is quite a common thing. So did you find that you're able to decipher between, okay, right, there's doubt here, but I know that this will work out. How much did faith or trust play a role in that journey? And I think in your life journey as well.
Yeah, that's a good topic, actually. Um, Definitely, the doubt will come many times along this romantic relationship journey. The world is full of interesting things, interesting women, and you're on a party. If you're a good-looking guy, the woman will notice you. You will notice them. But I don't know. Actually, when you get this doubt in your mind, or maybe it's more of a rough patch at the moment, the doubts will definitely come. If this is worth to pursue, should you change? Is there something that really bothers you? Is this really the right relationship to push on the long term? But for me, when I get a doubt, I don't know. I decided, it's a decision to push through a little bit, and there will be a sign that you choose right. Because sometimes when I went away for some time, maybe I don't know, on a trip or maybe some party or maybe some festival, I usually came back and I was very grateful to have her around me because I never met another woman who would fit so well, who would understand me so well, that I connected so well, and I always took that as a blessing, and that also helped me put a strong faith in our relationship, because even if she went away for some time, she came back with the same feelings, and this can make your relationship much stronger, and you kind of gain the faith and belief that something we're building together is very strong and trustworthy. And yeah, for me, the decisions were always the same in the end. Even if the doubt came, I I pushed it away, and it was gone. I don't know how could I advise to others, but I don't know. You have to try. You have to try, and if it's meant to be, it will work out. I don't know. You just have to trust your inner self. You have to, I don't know, make some kind of a evaluation. How many are the good things in the relationship, and how much is like the bad things, and what are the bad things about? If it limits you too much, if it's too much negativity around you, if the partner would not move forward in life. I think these are the signs that maybe you need to make a switch in a relationship, because if you're keen to grow, if you want to develop, if you want to pursue new things, and that your romantic partner doesn't support you, it can be tough. I've heard so many stories that one of the partners wanted to build a business and the other didn't want to. And when you're building something from the scratch, it will take you a whole day, not just 8 hours, and then you're free to enjoy. And yeah, the partner have to be with you in the game or have to support you in the long term. So I would say that you have to evaluate what you want in your life. And if the partner is there to support you with that, you have to stick with him, even if there are some bad or maybe rough patches, I would say. But yeah, if this is a general movement and there is no respect, and it's always the rough time, then this is also a hard decision. But for the long term, it's better to maybe find a better aligned partner.
And you mentioned a great point there too, which is, yeah, you've got to kind of know what you want as a man. You've got to know, right, what's your mission? What are you working towards? What do you actually want in your life? And again, a trust that if you're following that, then everything else in your life is aligned, not just relationships, but everything. And I think some guys can, lose themselves in relationships, talking to guys. They may be like, lose themselves in the process. And actually, I think if you do stick to what feels good for you, what you're building, your mission, then I think actually that will attract a much healthier, stronger relationship in the long term anyway, when you're focused on what you want. So yeah, there's a lot of points there which I've resonated with.
Yeah, definitely. You made so many interesting points about that, what you said. Yeah, definitely. Men can quickly lose themselves along these relationships. I can say that in some way that also happened to me at some point, because I would say in this current world, we as men are learned too much just to be pleasing other people. I would say maybe not be so manly, not to be so decisive, but maybe just to listen too much, to be too adaptive, to lose our own way. And I think it's really important to know yourself, to listen to yourself, not just to follow other people ideas, because if you follow yourself, this makes you a strong personality. And I think this attracts your romantic partner even more, because everybody wants to feel safe in the relationship. But sometimes this is a challenge, to feel your true power, true inner power. I think it's not so easy, because current culture and current state of the world, I think, pushes men to be too much in a female energy, to be too adaptive, to listen too much to others, to be too much suggestive to other ideas, and not to express themselves so much. I think this is quite a challenge, and I'm definitely still working on that to sharpen my edge. But I would say definitely to all the men around to find who they really are, to follow this way of they wanted to follow. Yes, be adaptive, be understanding to your romantic partner, but definitely don't change too much for others so they would like not to be too likable. You need to stand your ground. That's definitely so important.
Yeah, it kind of ties in with a lot of the message I like to preach, which is, don't make it your aim to be liked. I think this is just on a general scale, but yeah, because if your aim is to be liked, then chances are you're not actually going to be loved by anyone. If you're always people pleasing, doing things for others, worried about other people's perception, then that's going to manifest into your own life. And I've been through that journey, and I've seen what the results are. It's not worth it. Before we tie into the closing traditions, you have touched upon spirituality there, and there are several aspects of faith happened in your journey. And of course, you talked about the loss of your brother as well, which was troubling at the time, but you've seen the blessing in there. Talk to me about your perspective on things now, your approach to life, and how you think it all kind of links together into the events that have unfolded in your life, but then also the way you approach things now.
Yeah, definitely. My greatest filter for what I really want is something that I fear, and if I fear it, and if I figure out that something I want is the fear is the blocking part of the idea, I'm even more inclined to pursue it. Because when you experience such a, I would say, profound, hard experience in life, and when you remember it, you can just reflect on your future scary parts of your life. And if you went through this experience of death, you can definitely overcome any other not so great challenge, I would say, because the death is terminal. It's no coming back from that. And in other aspects, you can beat the fears. And I would say yes, definitely. If the fear is something that arises when you start with a new challenge, uh, just do it. You have to go on that journey, because it will be worth it, definitely, because you will break the limiting beliefs on the way. You will learn something new, and you will be a greater person after that, with better energy, probably more positive. The life challenges will not affect you so much. And I think this is very important to face your fears, to face a challenge in your life, because this is the only way to really grow. Definitely don't go alone on this journey. Take your friends with you, or maybe find some support in your environment to talk with them, read some books, listen to some YouTube videos, some podcasts. It can help with the motivation. This is my way going forward in life. When I'm scared, I need to break it, and across this horizon, I will see a better life, I think. The night is the darkest just before the light, and you have to push through this, because if you don't push through it, you just go back, to your basics, to your average achievements. And I think it's really important to go always forward in your life.
Yeah, that's it, brother. Because again, when your mindset is growth, when you chase the hard things, I believe you'll always be rewarded for that. I wholeheartedly agree, 100%. What we'll do, we'll move into the closing traditions of the podcast. The first two are routine. I ask them every week. And the third question is asked by one of the Growth Voyage listeners. The first question, it's lighthearted, but it is a song recommendation for the audience.
Favorite song? What would that be? I don't know. I usually listen to some morning jazz in the morning. So I like to start the day with reading some book and listening to some jazz. I don't have like a favorite producer, just random YouTube playlist. I don't know. What could I recommend? I don't know. This is a hard one.
Yeah, for a lot of people, it's the toughest question of the day. But I do resonate with the morning jazz. I like that. I'm going to give that a try because I find that, especially even when I'm working sometimes, you'll find these nice, that ambient sets or like morning groove. And I like the idea of morning jazz. So I'm going to give that a try.
Yeah, but as we are in this Christmas festive vibes, I would say I recommend any of the Christmas songs. I would say listen to some Home Alone maybe to wake up these childhood memories, to have a great Christmas with your close ones, to warm up for the holidays which are around the corner. I would say this you can't get wrong with that one.
Okay, yeah. I think my favorite Christmas song, I really like. What's that song? I don't know if it's the Cavalry. Is that what it's called? Do you know the one I'm thinking of or not?
I'm not sure.
I want to find the.
Maybe it's a Jingle Bell Rock.
It's not. Oh yeah, it's called "Stop the Cavalry."
Stop the Cavalry
by Jonah Louis. Have a listen. Let me know if you recognize it. Do they ever make Slovenian remixes of Christmas songs, or is it always the original?
Yeah. Slovenians sometimes borrow the melody, the audio, but they make a Slovenian cover out of it. But yeah, we have many of Slovenian Christmas songs also, which are like original work. So yeah, I like both. It's great. I like to listen to those in December. It puts the spirits up and warms you up for the holidays. I would say it's great. I'm also a little bit of a fanatic of a Christmas vibe, so I decorated my my place in early December already. So
yeah, you got to get into the spirit.
Already. Yeah, I like the spirit. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, it's just you notice people on the street are a bit more warm and excited than usual. So yeah, it's nice. The second question, book recommendation for the audience.
This was the recent book I read, Generational Traumas, which I think it's interesting to read because I think I would say talk to your family more. Try to figure out if there is something that bothers you, and if it's related with your family, try to challenge your parents about your struggles, and maybe check if they struggled with same challenges, and try to ask them if they solved the same challenges or if they didn't, because maybe you are just solving their problems. Yeah, this is an interesting story. I've met a monk in the city. I never met a monk, but he said to me one thing is you have to be in a good relationship with your family, or just you have to understand them, and you need to go through a phase of resentment, and after that you have to you know let the parents be themselves and don't have a grudge against them. And I think this is so important to resolve as early as possible. So this would be my recommendation for everyone.
Yes. Yeah. It's, I believe it's a process we all have to go to, like you said, kind of see what's actually going on, right? And understand that your parents, when we grew up, they were these godlike figures, right? They couldn't do anything wrong. And naturally, we're going to apply meaning to these people and what they did and what they said. And when you go through that realization of, oh, okay, right, actually, this happened. I applied this meaning to this experience. And okay, I would have wanted to receive love that way, but they showed me love this way, all this different stuff. And then feeling the old emotions, digging them up, giving them space to be felt. But then also, like you've said, returning back and being able to love them. And this time it's unconditional, really, because you can see them as an imperfect human, and that's normalizing the process. I think that's really, really important. Seeing them as a human, an imperfect human, just as yourself, and accepting them for who they are. So yeah, that's a wicked suggestion. That's your book suggestion? Then would you say that book?
Yeah, it's a good read. Definitely try it out. If you like it, you will read it, and if you don't, maybe it's not the right time. Just leave it on your reading list and come back later. It happens to me all the time that some books I just don't understand, but then I tackle them maybe in a year, and they're eye-opening, totally different. So
Yes, yeah.
this is here.
I can relate to that. There's a lot of books where I'm reading it, I'm like, yeah, I'm not getting this. I'm not resonating with it. And then a couple of years later, I'm like, now I understand it, or I learned something different. Absolutely. The final question is from one of our listeners. If you're listening to this and you would like to ask a question, growth related or otherwise, then send me a DM directly and we'll feature it in a future episode. This one comes in from Theo Calder, and he asks, if you had a superpower, what would you choose and why?
Yeah, oof. So many superpowers I would like to have. Yeah, the same. Not so easy question to answer. A superpower. Yeah, probably. I would say it would be great to be fearless. To not feel the fear. I would say. I don't know. I'm improvising a little bit. Or maybe even better, a superpower would be to know what people are thinking. To know what the masses are thinking about, so you can be always early with the trends. This is great skill for being in business, I would say. To feel what the future holds up. To be a visionary, so you can build before the thing is even relevant. That you can feel what will be relevant for the future. So you are a step ahead of everyone, and you can solve the problems so much earlier. You can have a really great solution, and so you don't follow the trend. You set up the trends. I think this is the superpower I would like to have, like a feeling of visionary, like maybe a little bit of a future seeing. What the future holds for us to solve something before it is even needed, I would say. I don't know, maybe something like that.
Yeah, I like that idea. And yeah, it's different because sometimes people say, well, I'd go back into the past and then invest in Bitcoin or whatever.
Okay.
But then I don't know. I
Not
like that.
bad of a superpower also.
Well, I suppose if you pick time travel, you could do both of those or similar. But then I like that forward thinking approach. And it makes me think as well, that skill of being able to read what people think. I think you'd have to be quite disciplined with that, because then you could go down all these rabbit holes and then it could almost act like a filter in your life and see. And I think that can be quite intrusive sometimes. So you might have to have some
Yeah.
boundaries for sure.
every superpower has a setback at the same time, I would say. Because if you can read the people's minds, you can read too much, and then you can't connect with them. You can judge them too much, I would say. And the filter would be great in that case.
Yeah, that's true. But I have to have some boundaries. And the fear one's interesting because, again, it would be if you had no fear, I suppose you might end up getting yourself into reckless situations, maybe. But I suppose it depends what your goal is to some degree. But I think sometimes, I guess there's a difference between fear and discernment and calculated risk.
Yeah, but sometimes to start something new, you need to overcome the fear, and the fear can be the only thing that sets you back. Sometimes maybe at this point of my life, I would wish I would have the right knowledge and no fear, because sometimes this lack of clarity and fear pushes you to overthinking everything and not act, and this leads you nowhere. So being fearless for some point of the life is great, actually. So you move forward, even if you make a mistake, you learn something at least, and you give yourself a chance. But if you're too much in your fear cycles, I think it can block you many times. I think procrastination happens and stuff like this. So it would be also a great superpower just to switch on and off the fear, sometimes.
And also, it conserves your energy as well, because we forget we expend a lot of energy overthinking and overanalyzing, certainly. So it could be, I think all of these have positive side impacts, other benefits. So okay. Well, if you ever get that superpower in the future, let me know how it goes. Look forward to hearing about it. But most importantly, thank you for coming on the show, Marko. I really appreciate your, just how vulnerable you've been about your own experiences. And what I love is that a lot of your advice or insights have come from your lived experience too, which I think is fantastic. So great inspiration for many men. Where can people find you if they'd like to connect with you or even find out a bit more about your business that you're building?
I think LinkedIn is great to connect, to find me like more of a professional site, but also you can find me on Instagram. I think this is like best options.
Fantastic. We'll put all of those in the description of this video. Marko, thank you.
Yes, thank you for the invitation. It was a great podcast, great questions. I think really important questions to address for everyone who is growth orientated. Every man who wants to build a romantic relationship or generally their life energy. So it was a great conversation. Yeah, thank you.
Cheers, brother.